there's been something that's been on my mind for this has actually been on my mind for years. It's like an evolving kind of idea. Let's say that we are the base humans in the sense of like if we were in, there's a lot of theories of simulation. Um, let's say we were in base reality, right? Think about how far we've advanced technologically already. What are we going to look like in 10,000 years? Okay. So, if we're thinking about immortality, which is the thing I'm sure that humans, it's going to be on the top of the priority list, right? When it comes to advancements in technology, immortality. How would that look? So, first, I would think we would do everything we could to physically extend our lifespan, right? It would start with the medicine that we see now. I mean, even medicine is really young, right? I was talking about how computers are young, medicine's young. I mean, in the 1800s, they were like, drink this whiskey and bite this belt while I saw your leg off, you know. Thank God that I did not live in that time period. So it would start with that, and then eventually it would get to like genetic engineering, and then maybe by becoming cyborgs, including AI and mechanical things into our bodies, robotics, things like that. So what if we got to the peak of that? Let's say we could get a human body to live 1,000 years by DNA and genetic engineering. But let's say we could get a body to 10,000 years by incorporating AI or, robotics, nanobots, things like that, cybernetics. What if 10,000 years, this is just a number I made up, was the longest possible that we could extend this physical body and still be human and not just a computer that thinks we're human, right? Mm-hmm. What would be the next natural step? It would be to upload our, brains or our experience into a computer. And once again, we're talking, our computers are very primitive. This would be very futuristic. So if that's the case, let's say with time dilation, you could live an entire lifetime in 1 minute. Our entire human life in 1 minute. And let's say you went through a ton of those, remembering that you were that person in the real world. And now you're in a computer and you can do anything. Oh, I'm flying around the moon. I'm this, that, the other. Boy, that would get kind of boring, knowing that you have millions of lives ahead of you, knowing that it's just a game. Wouldn't that cause a lot of issues? Yeah. So what if eventually you're like, let's erase my memory beforehand so that I can really enjoy it this time. Right? It's not just the same old thing. By the way, if this sounds slightly familiar, it's because Alan Watts talked something about this, but in a more metaphysical, spiritual sense. He didn't incorporate the computer stuff. He was saying basically like, if life is this dream and you got to live as many dreams as you wanted, you'd eventually want to forget that you were in a dream, right? Because if you knew, it wouldn't be fun anymore. Okay? So if that's the case, it actually matches with so many major religions and stuff, right? Like in the fact that you have multiple lives and that there's an inner part of you that carries over from life to life. And I guess if you want to think of it in our modern terms, once again, saying very primitive compared to what it would actually be. But like you would go ahead and you'd be like, I want to live this life or that life or the other life. And maybe it's completely controlled like a movie, or maybe it's more like choose your own adventure where the show changes based on the decisions you make, right? Or maybe it's like a giant game where everyone else is also playing the game. And so you go in thinking, oh, I'm going to choose a life like this, but then it doesn't go like you planned because of the decisions that other people make, right? And I'm going to have some more videos in the future about the transition and the afterlife and things like that. But anyway, I just think this is such a fun thought experiment, because even if this isn't the case, thinking about humanity's evolution when it comes to immortality, I think is such a fascinating thing to think about. What are our limits for our physical bodies? And what would we do? What wouldn't we do to extend our lifespans as long as possible?